All right, well, it's not one to start even for this video. I'm out of breath. Give me a second. Hey guys, I'm Evan. Welcome to Country View Acres. So in today's video, we're going to be replacing our gas generator, the one that we use to power our house during a power outage. We're going to replace that with a portable battery backup system and power our whole house with that instead. So it's going to be a pretty cool system, so stick with me. So we live on 41 acres in southeastern Illinois. I've only got 2 neighbors that are within a mile of my house, so not very populated where I live. So when we do have a power outage, the power companies are going to focus on the cities and the towns first. So my area is typically the last ones to get the power turned back on. So this is my 5,500 watt generator that I have used to power up our house. As long as I wasn't running the air conditioner or the clothes dryer, this would power everything up. Now the problem is, as soon as the power goes out, the first thing that goes through your mind is, am I going to get it started? How many times am I going to pull on this cord to get this started? It can be a struggle sometimes, and I can fight it for several minutes. And if I'm gone, this is something I definitely don't want my wife to have to struggle with. All right, so I do everything right. I mean, I turn off the fuel, I let it run out of gas, and then I turn it off. I've got stabilizer in the gas. It's still a struggle to start. So even if you do everything right, these things just ain't as reliable. So we're gonna get this thing moved out of the way. So our friends over at EcoFlow ended up sending us their Delta Pro model. I believe this is the biggest one that they make. So this is a battery backup system. It is a power station, a solar generator. It could be called all of those things. But basically there is a lithium ion battery inside of here. Pretty good size one. 3.6 kilowatt hours worth. So that's a lot of energy stored in there. And then it can send it back out as 120 volt outlets. It actually has a 30 amp outlet. That's the same outlet that our camper used. So you could plug it into a camper or travel trailer and power it up. Has USB ports for all your devices. And then there's a little side panel here. If you open it up, there is some 12 volt ports in here, and one just like you have in your car. So anything you plug into your automobile, you could also power up. So this is pretty versatile on all the different things that you can use to power up with this. But then it's also fairly versatile on the way you can charge it. So you could charge it on the wall and power it up, make sure it's all charged up, it'd be ready for a power outage. You could also plug it into your vehicle, into the cigarette lighter in your vehicle, and you can charge it up that way. You can charge it up with solar panels, which is what I end up planning on doing. I've got some ordered, they're not here yet, but we're gonna plug in some solar panels, and then it would charge every day when the sun was out and just recharge it up every day. So fairly versatile. You can charge it with AC and DC on the charging, fairly versatile with the charging. But the cool thing about this is this. The Delta Pros are expandable in a few different ways. So you can get 2 different units. You can tie those together with a special cable. It's gonna double the power, double the voltage. So it'll make 240 volts, 7,200 watts. And then you get a generator plug-in, just like the one we had, and you can power up the house, just like we did with the generator, except this has got 1,700 watts more power than the generator did. You can also expand it with batteries. Each one of these units you can add 2 batteries to, effectively tripling the storage capacity of each one of these. Now you can charge these up with solar. Each one of these will do 1,600 watts of solar. So if you have 2 of them, you effectively can double the solar. Now you can have about 3,200 watts of solar. So that is pretty cool. But you can build this system several different ways and expand it several different ways. You can go with 1 unit and add batteries to it. You can go with 2 units, double the power, double the voltage. But I think just these 2 units right here, I think these are going to power up our house just fine. I think they'll be able to do more than what the generator used to do. So let's go try it out. So these Delta Pros are actually very heavy. They're like 99 pounds. Probably should lift this with 2 people. but it does have nice solid handles, and it's actually meant to be carried like a piece of luggage, right? So you just extend the handle and roll it wherever you want it. So get them to the house. So I think what I would do is I would just keep these charged up in the basement, ready to go, and then I can just roll them out here. So this here is the double voltage hub, and basically this plugs into each one of the solar generators, combines them together, and then you end up with two 40-volt plugs. So you've got some 20 amps, and then you have the 30 amp 240-volt plug, and this is the one you're going to plug into the house. All right, to get this hooked up, these plug into a port in the bottom right-hand corner here, called the infinity port, I think. So get one plugged in, get the other one plugged in, and then to power this up, there's actually a on-off button. So we'll turn it on. They should link up, and then this powers up. So there's a little link light in the corner of each screen. They know they're connected. Now we got 240 volts. We're ready to hook it up. And here's the generator inlet. This is where you plug the generator into your house. All right, I think we got everything out here ready to go. I'm gonna go ahead and head inside to the main breaker panel. We're gonna go ahead and switch it over to the generator, and we'll see if it can power the whole house. So in my breaker panel, I have what they call a generator interlock. And that is this piece of metal right here. It prevents the main breaker and your generator from both being on at the same time. So to turn on our generator, we have to turn off the main breaker. I can hear everything spinning down in the house. So you have to lift up on the interlock, and then you can turn on the generator, like that. So now you can see this is actually up, and you can't turn on your main breaker. So we are powered off the generator right now. So this generator interlock is probably the most cost-effective way to power up your whole house and still be legal, because you can't accidentally backfeed the grid. You cannot have the main on at the same time as the generator input from outside. So definitely cost-effective. It's the easy way to go if you're looking to power your whole house up like this. All right, I'm gonna walk around real quick. We'll make sure everything's powered up. So I'm down here in the mechanical room. We've got two freezers down here that are powered up. All our utility stuff is down here too. So we have got an on-demand hot water heater. It is propane, but it uses electricity to ignite, and for the little blower motor that's in here. So we've got hot water. We've got our water softener, it's on. This is our furnace. This is a propane furnace. It has a heat pump outside. This is the backup. This is the air handling unit, and it's actually running. So we are actually circulating air right now. I'm gonna have to check on that. We might actually be running the heat pump. All right, we're upstairs. Looks like everything is powered on up here. Of course, I did lose the clocks on the microwave when I switched that over. Runs the microwave fine. Everything seems like it's working okay. So look up at the ceiling, you can see we've got our lights. You can see our ceiling fans are going. That is stuff you normally don't have when you use extension cords, right? So when you power your whole house up like this, you get all your normal lighting, all of your normal outlets, everything just works. It's really the way to go. So let's look at this, see what's going on. Looks like the fan is just running, just the fan. So I'm gonna turn that back to auto. I'll tell you what we'll do. I normally run the furnace. So let's kick on the furnace, make sure it works. It should work because we already had the blower motor going. So it looks like everything's powered up just fine. The furnace did kick on, and it's actually raised it 1 degree already. So I normally use the fireplace in the wintertime. So I'm gonna go ahead and turn this back off for now, and we'll head back down to the solar generators. So I've had the whole house powered up for about 50 minutes now. Everything seems to be working fine. Now I could go up to the displays on the front of this and I could look and see how many watts are left, how much time is left, but you don't necessarily have to do that. They're smart devices. They're actually on my Wi-Fi. They're on the internet, basically. I can monitor them anywhere. So I've got the EcoFlow app. And I've got this opened up. You can see both of the Delta Pros on the app. And I'll look at number 1 here. You can see it's running 501 watts. It's got 6 hours, 7 minutes estimated time left on it. And then if we look at the other one, you can see it's running 367 watts and it's got about 7 hours and 50 minutes left on it. So you can see your power usage, you can see your estimated time. You can also see if you're charging it with solar, you can see that on the display and see how much it is charging. So pretty cool. On the app, you can see and monitor these from inside your house or from at work or something like that. So you can monitor these from your phone. So I'm sure I could get these to last longer if I would manage the loads. I just turned the whole house on just to see what would happen. But if I went inside and turned a few things off, like let's say the ceiling fans. Do I really need the ceiling fans running during a power outage? Probably not. I bet if I go inside and I turn those 2 ceiling fans off, I'll probably gain a couple hours on these Delta Pros. All right, I went ahead and I turned the ceiling fans off just to see what would happen. And the first Delta Pro here dropped down to 392 watts. It's got 7 hours and 35 minutes left on it now. So it ended up gaining a little over an hour's worth of run time just by turning the ceiling fans off. So definitely helps. You can manage your loads, see what you have on and off. You can make it last longer. You could buy batteries to make it last longer. But pretty cool little system. You see that it's just plug and play. Pull it out here, plug it in, turn it on. It's got to flip the switches inside and it's ready to go. So definitely should be easy enough for Rebecca. I can show her and it'll be way easier than trying to pull on that generator several times trying to get it started up. So while I was standing here, the fans on them just kicked on and got louder. So you can tell that it took on a load. So Rebecca's turned something on. So she either turned on the dryer, the dishwasher, maybe the oven. So let's see what she turned on. All right, I came upstairs and Rebecca is baking bread. So she's got, tell us what you got.
I got sourdough hamburger buns.
Yeah, so she's made some hamburger buns here and she is getting ready to cook them in the oven. So she's got it heating up right now. And so that's what that load was. So I pulled up the app. I can actually see we're putting out over 2,000 watts coming out on each of the Delta Pros, coming out powering the oven. This is a 240 volt load. And it looks like we're going to bake some bread using the Delta Pros today. What setting do you use the dryer on? Which one of these?
On normal, cotton normal.
Normal cotton? Okay. All right, I think I'm going to do one more test. I'm going to try the dryer. It's another 240 volt load, so it'll definitely be a test for the solar generator. And normal cotton. See what happens. Well, I think the dryer just kicked in because we are up to over 3,000 watts on here and just at 3,000 watts on there. So total of 6,000 watts being outputted right now. So it looks like it will successfully run the dryer. It may not, it'll really drain the battery pretty quickly. So if you're in a power outage like this, of course we're just playing around, we're testing it. This is actually the first day that I've played around with this, seeing what it'll do. So you and me are testing this out first time together. And it is pretty cool that it can do that much power and power the dryer, I guess, if you needed it. But in a power outage, you're going to be a little bit more conservative, right? You're going to not turn on all the lights. You're probably not going to use your big appliances, and then this will last quite a bit longer. So like I said, this is my first day testing out the Delta Pros. I did charge them up a few days ago, but this was my first day off, you know, to be able to get out here and actually plug something in, and ended up plugging in the whole house, and it powered it up. At least everything I had on, it powered up. We didn't go crazy trying to turn on everything, but it did run the oven, and then it ran the dryer. And the dryer was the biggest test. Just over 3,000 watts was going through those. They max out at 3,600 watts. So I think that was a pretty good test today for them. And so far, I think I'm pretty impressed. I think this whole thing is neat. There's a lot of stuff packed in to that package. We didn't really touch the surface on everything that thing can do. So my initial thoughts is I think that's going to be way easier. You just roll it out like a set of luggage, plug in a few cords, turn it on, and you can power up the whole house. I think it's going to be way easier than the generator. The generator, I tried to start that for the video today. I think it took me at least 5 minutes to start it up, and I had to stop a couple times to catch my breath because it did not want to start. And of course, it's going to be way quieter than the generator. That generator, out here in the country, you can hear for miles. So you can hear that generator for miles. I know I hear people running chainsaws for miles, and that is way louder than a chainsaw. So the Delta Pros are quiet, unlike my ducks. You can probably hear my ducks out there. But the Delta Pro's quiet. It's got some fans on there, so a lot quieter. You can actually take it in your house. You know, if you didn't need 240 volt, you wouldn't really need two of these, right? The only reason you need two is if you wanted 240 volts to power up your main panel in your house. So if you just had one of those, I mean, you could just take it in your house. You could just plug in your devices, anything that you would need. It would last you for a really long time. So pretty neat little system, especially with the solar. The solar, I think, is probably the coolest thing about it, just because I like the whole idea of putting some solar panels out here and then it charge every day, and you almost have like infinite power without having to pour gasoline in it, right? So it just charges up every day. So I think that's probably one of the coolest things about it. So I know this isn't exactly for everybody. These aren't exactly cheap, right? This is some pretty advanced stuff. This is some high-end technology here, all packed into that little case. So this is going to be for people who have a little bit more disposable income on hand to be able to purchase one of these. So one of those units is, I think, $36.99, right at $3,700. And you know, if that ends up being too much, they make several models. Like I said, this is the biggest one they make. And I think they make 7, 8 different models that go down in size and in price. But if you want something to back up your whole house, you're not going to find a lot of portable options out there. This is pretty unique feature right here, being able to tie these together and power up the whole house. Now, I know that I'm a very lucky person to be able to have those on hand, to be able to test out and do some stuff with these. So like I said, I got some solar panels coming. I do plan on doing a lot of stuff with them. So we're going to hook a bunch of solar to them. We're going to find out exactly how long I can run my house with them. And then I may end up kind of getting them installed in the house and hooking them up to like some critical loads in my house, and see if I can power a small portion of my house 100% of the time with them. So I've got some neat stuff to do to try out on these, so stick around if you want to see any of that. One of these units would be perfect for an off-grid cabin. I think, in my mind, it fits perfect for an off-grid cabin or a camper. One of these units would be great. So I think that's going to be it for today's video. I just kind of doing a quick test today. I think we ran it for about 3 hours just playing around, and we'll have more to do with the Delta Pros later. But definitely going to be messing around with some solar this year, and this is part of the system that we're going to use to do a bunch of testing. So stick around, and there'll be more to come. So that's it for today, guys. So thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.